Witam w 10. odcinku z Disco Elysium. Lecimy dalej, szybki zapis i no zanim pogadamy z tym chłopem, no to jeszcze chcę zobaczyć, czy to jeszcze coś ciekawego tutaj sobie leży. Dobra, nie leży nic ciekawego. Lornetka na monety. Biedna lorneteczka. Dobra, jebać tą lornetkę. Dobra, to jest taki, nic mi nie powiem. O, co tutaj jest? Coś tutaj jest. Pieniądze! Wow, z samego bycia menelem zbierania pieniędzy z podłogi jestem w stanie zarobić. Dobra. O! Żółta plastikowa torba, chuj wie co. Dobra, jebiście. To jest narzędzie, wyposażeniowe, zbierać opakowania. A co mi to daje? Łatwość. W sumie tego nie potrzebuję. Ale mogę to mieć. Zajebiście. Będę sobie teraz przy okazji zbierał te. Dobra. Co jest? Nie mogę. O! Tutaj jest. Puszeczka. No. Cokolwiek tam było. Dobra, zajebiście. Se zbieram. Ja tu jeszcze nie byłem. Chcę sobie pozwiedzać. O, tutaj góra. Halo, policja. Znaczy ja jestem policją. O cholera, jakiś dialog. Albo co to tam jest? Lag. O, mamy, co tu mamy? Most. Most z poluzowanych gwoździ przegniłego, skrzypiającego drewna na wietrze. Oczywiście przykład naruszonego prawa budowlanego.
A construction code violation if there ever was one.
Okej. Sus most. Dobra, weź to zbierz. Jezu, co tu się dzieje? A, bo ty jak się ładuje, to tak reaguje, dobra. Matko święta. Jakie tutaj popikselowane. Północne rondo. Apartamentowiec półwysep. Dobra. Zamknięte. Coś tu se stoi na górze. Tu można wejść. Tam coś też jest. Tyle rzeczy. Automatyczny zapis. Jest 21. Co to jest? Z kimś tu mogę porozmawiać. Nawet nie widzę co tu jest. Pusta ściana. Ściana na podwórzu. Konceptualizacja. Niemożliwy. Biały test, możesz go powtarzać. 28% to jest dużo. Po prostu... Dobra, chuj. Kiedyś indziej spróbuję w takim razie. Halo. No. Kozak, pieniądze. Dzieciak. Szachmat.
Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pig's come to take me out. Trying to snuff me out.
Dobra, jebać tam. Sprawdźmy co tutaj jest.
What's that noise down there?
Zamknij tam mordę. Pójdzie to, interere. Co ja tu se robię? Seria dziur. Zamknięte drzwi. Pomarańczowa czapka żulerska. Retoryka -1. Ja mam retorykę za dużą, żeby sobie ją zmniejszać. Chociaż to w sumie by znaczyło też wtedy, że no czas reakcji za retorykę. Bo mam i tak dużo. Niewiele by pewnie zmieniło. Świetnie, widzę rozpikselizowane gówno, no dobra. Najpierw tutaj. Najpierw Aż w dupę. O, dlatego, że jest dziewczyna, to ona wylała farbę. Znaczy, kurwa nie. Przecież chuj go tam wie w sumie. Jakaś łódka. Łódeczka. A ja zbieram dwa magnes i przedmioty leczące. O, po prostu można pogadać. To jest bardzo więcej niż robić. Pogadać? Pogadam. Siema.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the
Okay.
harbor. You gentlemen must be from the RCN. I'm glad to
Uciśnij
see you
jezdną.
here.
Like steel.
Ja, ma silne ręce.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to...
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview.
O, dzięki.
I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode.
He's trying to signal something. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But
How interesting.
Spuścił oko.
I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation and the full cooperation
Jest pani na
of the
łodzi.
group.
Może pani powiedzieć o White Pines, czym się
What we
zajmujecie?
do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines.
there was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency
Okej.
is logistics,
Transport kontenerów, fach,
container
tego typu
shipping,
działalność.
freight, and that is the terminal. Another
The
Platformy
Wild
wiertnicze,
Tribes
wydobycie
is one of
ropy.
the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself,
Indoszczepów.
centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes
Jakie
saw
są
natives,
Indoszczepy?
Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Pani dobrą kompanię. Ile pieniędzy ma White Pines? Nie jestem upoważniony na omawianie. Mogę powiedzieć, że w ubiegłym roku reprezentowała 20 miliardów, ale
I'm
przynajmniej.
not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in
Orety. Orety. Liczby z...
20 billion is a large number, but
Skąd Wild Pines bierze te wszystkie? Zaczynanie jako flota eksploracyjna transportowa obsługująca handel między Isolą Morską i jakimś tam. To było 250 lat temu. Stać ostrożnego i rozważnego planowania, ale także szaleństwa. Dobra.
have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8%.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each
Co?
terminal must be
15
accounted for,
Indoszczep.
lest the entire system break.
A,
Every hiccup
wstałem
in
myśl.
such a system means
Ale
thousands lose
co
their
może mi
jobs.
pani powiedzieć o tym strajku?
Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Co jeśli chcę posłuchać?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Elements that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Stawmy to
Glad
w
you see it
spokoju.
that way. To repeal the act,
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
but I am
Daj
derailing
tam
us.
spokój.
You wanted to know about the strike. I
A,
believe the official title
oficjalny
is Senior
tytuł to
Labour
starszy
Negotiator.
negocjator do spraw
In
pracy.
practice,
A, ekspedientka przekazuje jej żądanie związku,
No
zwraca.
way. She's more. She can make.
And how are the talks going?
they're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week.
Wait. She just admitted that the lynching and the strike are.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
A więc strajk jest powiązany z
Yes,
ninja.
I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later.
A, proszę nam powiedzieć o tym
What can I
behemocie.
say? The Union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant.
Rasistowskiego olbrzyma.
Their big tent organization.
Okay.
I'd say I was not making the kind of...
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago.
A,
Yes, in the
okej.
middle of February. The bay was still partially...
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss.
This isn't the first time the union has...
Heavens no. There have been 2...
Dobra, 2 strajki wcześniej.
It's meant.
Ugrało znacząco dostępną wypłacaną za godziny.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before. And who was more than
Jakie są ich
leaflets
żądania?
everywhere and banners. What did they... Every worker, a member of the...
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Bez kitu.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the... Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by
Ja
Wild Pines.
pierdolę.
Essentially, not...
And
Gambit
opening
otwierający.
surely.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king,
Brzmi jak gambit otwierający.
so I hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer. And now,
Okej.
people are getting lynched, I hear.
Excuse me.
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aver...
This checks out.
Co, to
No,
mi się zgadza.
wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines group has more effective channels of information.
2200
After
osób.
all,
To jest dla nich duża
2,200
rzecz.
people are on strike. This is
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing
Okay.
about him, it...
she's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he had the thick
Skorumpowany,
school where you
okej.
and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I
Oof.
deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his... Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term is full, it's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution.
Okej.
20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elect.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and your opinion, detective, if I may ask. I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you
Okej.
say the Débardeurs Union is...
Wielką piewkę wysysającą rewolwer do życia? Związek skuteczne narzędzie walki o prawa miejsca. Coś w rodzaju socjalistycznej mafii. No, socjalistyczna
Thank you for being
mafia.
candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for
Jeszcze
2
jedno.
decades.
Że coś wydarzyło
However
się
much
podczas
it may
wyborów.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman,
Disappeared?
yes.
Zniknęła.
On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work.
Okej.
Her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence.
Holy.
I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't indeed. The
Oh.
company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. The point of the
Związkowa.
presentation is these.
Thank you for your
Okay.
concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help?
Co może mi pani powiedzieć o
Quite
tym
a
linczu?
few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will.
how curious. Why is that, detective?
'Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame.
Ukradłem jakiś artysta, najlepiej to ich to obwinić. Wszyscy wiedzą, że artystą nie wolno mówić. A,
I
czy...
see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I
Tak.
can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
O Jezus Maria, równie dobrze mogłem ją zjeść.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Przekonywanie na 0 mam.
Of
Porozmawiamy w
course,
takim
the
razie po
situation
czymś
is
innym.
extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
Przekonywanie.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. This reality.
Yes, reality is your experimental side.
Eksperymenta, sprawa poważna.
Ah, yes, the episode.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only...
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help.
All right.
Mmm.
I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Czym jest konceptualizacja na niemożliwym? Dzięki, kurwa, gro.
We're in Martinez, baby. Martinez is a district of Revachol. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. This place used to be... It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revel... Yes. We're on an island in an ocean.
Okej.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités,
Caillou. Imagine a pebble.
it is clear this pebble is of enormous and to humanity at large.
Dla całej ludzkości.
I would be happy to. What is a preposterously expensive education?
Jakiś czas
are
będzie.
unimportant times, detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000 for the big time.
Mhm.
The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a
Okej.
real kerfuffle. Why, of course. We're talking Duke out Central.
A,
Swing
międzygatunkowe.
ancient species. No, I would say the apes were neutral.
Mhm.
On the other hand,
It takes time for the apes to change and work.
Mhm.
Perhaps what happened here was part of that time.
Kto skończy
those would be the
próbować?
communists.
Komunistów.
Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during
Okej.
war, and the anarchists
No i
too.
zabili komunistów i
So it's
anarchistów.
the totality of it.
Indeed. Did they ever? Before they got shot
2
themselves,
miliony.
they shot 2 million people. Yes. The Red Deluge.
Mhm.
Oh, lots of people. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Uwielbiam tego króla jebani komuniści.
Which one? Actually, it doesn't matter. King Guillaume has always been my favorite. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a
A,
wild
kto
time.
otrzymał prawo do
The liberals
minerału?
got the mineral rights. And by
Liberałom.
mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people,
Średnia
detective,
klasa.
or the remaining
Potomkowie
gentry.
arystokracji, beneficjenci, przedrewolucyjnego
Some were rich
porozumienia.
enough to stay with the constitution.
Kiedyś była jakieś... Byli komuniści, była rewolucja, byli komuniści i później wybili tych komunistów chyba, tak?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention,
No, z interwencji koalicji ci ludzie naprawdę
those
chcieli,
people
prawda?
really took the mineral rights.
Kim
The
jest
coalition of
koalicja?
nations, Grad,
A, jakiś tam państewka, dobra.
Vesper, Messina, the
Moralistyczne
moralists
roz...
believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights and not shooting, at least not in
Okay.
the same manner and volume. This
Okay.
is their zone of
Strefa
control.
kontroli.
They embolden.
The color
Dobrze.
of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Z moment była nadzieja. Nie
A
tylko przez...
devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean.
Gdy miała
10th
miejsce
century
awantura.
revolution? Don't ask. The revolution began in 02.
W drugim roku i...
Though by the end, nearly
Okay.
it wasn't a who, but a what. A
Pandemia
pandemic of
strachu.
Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease.
Jakieś choroby,
which the
okej.
authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. In Mazov, it made people overthrow their governments.
Okej.
Of course not. It was a highly infectious
Dobra,
microorganism
zaraźny
that
mikroorganizm
destroyed brain
niszczący
tissue.
tkankę
The
mózgową.
actual cause.
It was a funny time in history. They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions. No.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown
Okay.
by you and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control. A city-state divided into three
Państwo
market
miasto
zones
podzielone
under the
na strefy
everlasting
wolnorynkowe pod
interregnum of
wiecznymi
the
rządami
coalition of nations.
Interrexa w
And you,
postaci
of
koalicji
course, the
na...
zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol.
Trzecie wcielenie
After the failure
Revacholu
of
po
the
upadku
suzerain
monarchii
and the
komun.
modernity. They
Nowoczesność,
developed the marvels of the
okej.
interstellary communication.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies.
Czyli, że to wszystko tak wygląda od 43 lat.
The 20s saw a decade of urban war west of the River Level.
Wojna,
Offshore platforms in the
właśnie
30s.
19 lat.
Things settled down in the 30s. Brothershall East
Kraj
transformed
podatkowy.
itself into the world's largest.
All that untaxed income must have fueled the new. That can only mean one thing.
Właśnie wtedy odkryto disco.
Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s. Welcome to reality, baby.
Okej.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
They picked the winning side. That's why they're here. And others, perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom. I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong.
Co
Failed
pani
to
zrobiłaby
question.
inaczej?
What would you have done differently? You and everyone else. But that's got nothing to do with preventing the revolution.
No niby tak.
Well, what was, they are what
Dobra,
they
też
anyway.
już o tych czasach.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
Czym pani jest?
I am the vilest of the vile.
Że-
Actually, I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
Dios mío. Libera. Jezu, co to?
Ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal from the revolution.
Nie
It's
cechuje jego
not the moderate
umiarkowanie.
kind.
Co w tym takiego okrutnego?
I am another creature of the forbidden. We surrendered the nation to
Że
finance the
wepchnęły
Empires.
króla pod wóz zła i
No
no i
saint
zdradziły rewolucję.
identifies as ultra-liberal anymore.
Mhm.
Not important.
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
Wybacz.
I do hope so. I do hope when the dust settled, the liberals were the only
A
ones
co pani by
to
zrobiła
respect to our
inaczej?
overlords, the eternal caretaker government. I would not have relinquished.
Nie no, zrzekałabym się niezależności na rzecz koalicji.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched.
Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty.
On to
Perhaps
jest fajny człowiek.
You're no dummy yourself.
Z ciebie też bynajmniej nie głupek, wow. Mogę powiedzieć, że nie.
And the crown on your head as you lay in the casket.
Ma pani córki? Jest pani patriotką?
Seditious talk, man.
yes,
Pani córki?
whatever else I am.
Ej,
Also
żono.
mother.
No to co, wróćmy do rzeczywistości?
Now, shall we return to reality?
O, białe testy. Co jest ostra end?
It's a neurological disorder caused by lack of
Brak
vitamin B in the
witaminy
brain.
B.
Symptoms include retrograde amnesia. Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
She nods slowly.
No alkohol. Cholera. Co to jest?
Bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Naprawdę jest to aż tak
Not,
niezgrabne.
my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah. This or two.
Co
A
to jest?
pre-revolutionary tenement.
Kamienica, cholera, dobra.
This one used to be mostly the urban middle class, I
Myszkaś.
Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's run.
Wonderful.
Cudownie.
The
Napięcia.
girl in the old lady rags.
Tak.
The sullen and rebellious member of yes.
Nie
You and I belong
frakultury.
to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in... She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
Po prostu to jakoś bardziej skomplikowanie.
That's how simple it is. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the superculture.
Daj temu spokój.
No time for silly infracultures. There are more
8%.
pressing, reality-centric questions.
8%. Ja pierdolę, co jest na konceptualizację i mam tak nisko. Zaraz se strzelę w łeb. Dobra, zaraz mam odblokowane to, więc... O, odblokuję se. 15 doszczep. Nie wiem co mi to da, ale wolę zrobić niż nie. No tego więcej raczej mieć nie będę. Więc...
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you.
Glad to have been of assistance.
Z pani na
I
łodzi.
am.
Niewiele przesiaduje na
Of
łodzie.
course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Zaraz jesteśmy na Elysium.
The neighboring ozone and
Archipelago zaś.
island groups are
Pojedynczy żyzny kawał lądu.
Lakaiu, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're living on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get... I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor car.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol industrial hub.
To nie zabawka.
A toy, I mean. It's a machine.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat.
Tak
Why
czemu?
what? Stop thinking. Take her down.
Wiecie, jakby to nie zazdroszcza i nie zazdrości.
You're not? Okay then. Just keep on admiring the boat then, unburdened by envy.
Bez zazdrości.
The boat? No. It is called Corps de It's a pleasure craft. A 19-pacer. My
Lubię
sloop.
panią.
I like
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the model we investigated.
Dobra, tam czepia się. Pani.
sir. I assure
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the
Dobra. Rzeczywistość, nie.
is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy.
Co
Look at that
czemu nie?
lady. Take a
Jakiś piękny...
why, yes, tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat. While dull, these are the kind I, within reason.
Granice rozsądku.
You're poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too.
Tak, bo...
Maybe you could ask.
as I was saying,
No to ciekawe.
if there's any way I may
A
be of
na siłę woli trzeba rzucić,
don't
żeby
hesitate to ask.
prosić o pieniądze. Dobra, dziękuję, to na razie wszystko.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Bruta. Evening falls. The vows are blood and flesh. Lower intestine. Fascism, Bruta.
A czym jest faszyzm?
But it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachel's problems?
Myślałem, że z tym
Quit
układ.
stalling, Bruta. We're talking about
Liberałowie.
us, women,
Kobiety.
men of war. You don't like
Nie
it.
lubisz.
That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. Stomach truth.
Brzuch mówi ci prawdę.
Because
To ja
you
cię w ogóle
say the
słyszę.
hard things that others won't say. The good things.
Ale faszyzm brzmi bardzo źle.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your vooz, right? Keep your vooz, brota.
Zaczynam swoich ślubów. Będzie mi mówił, co mam robić. Mam w to wejść, czy nie? Nie.
There's a slow pain. It is one of betrayal. Wow, you work hard. Oh,
Naprawdę?
yes. You hustle.
Tak, no w zasadzie racja.
Like a horse.
Jak
A
koń.
workhorse. Look at yourself. You're a human That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The
Tak.
world is harsh.
Tak kurwa, ci znasz do śmierci.
It's like, it ain't easy, but sure. And has it been Are you rich?
Czy jesteś bogaty? Nie, nie za bardzo.
You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
Jebane podatki.
One untaxed,
Dokładnie.
almost non-existent in the Gotham estate. That is reversional. You and I both, but they got those in
Podatki pośrednie.
8% of all your money.
O, wejdź w to, jesteś pewny? To chyba bardzo dużo.
What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see?
Ale tylko trochę z tym systemem właśnie fundamentalistą wolnego rynku. Tak jest.
The righteous fact.
O, mogę porozmawiać z nim.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. You should take care of that man. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM.
Dobra, mam dużo rzeczy. Ubranie, czas reakcji, retoryka mi spada. Nie chcę, żeby mi retoryka spadła. Lubię moją retorykę. Jest śmieszna. Empatia -2. Metody pośrednie. Ja pierdzielę. Wiedzieć, że to dostanę, to informacje. Okej, zapłać za szkody. Co ja tutaj... O, dostałem chyba +1, tak? Nie wiem. Zobaczymy, dobra. Ja pierdolę, ta rozmowa trwała zdecydowanie zbyt długo. Więc w tym odcinku to tyle, a my widzimy się w kolejnym. Na razie.